The heavy iron doors of cell 47 slammed shut for the last time. The sound echoed through the cold, lifeless hallway like a final heartbeat. Inside sat Ethan Cole, a man once full of laughter, now a shadow of who he used to be. His execution was set for dawn. The guards had stopped calling him Mr. Cole. To them, he was just the prisoner. But behind those tired eyes was a man who once had a family, a home, and a dog named Max, his only loyal companion left in the world. As the night crept in, Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, his mind drowning in memories. He remembered the day Max came into his life, a tiny golden retriever puppy, wagging his tail and licking his face like they had known each other forever. Max had been his light through dark times. After his wife's death, Max was the only reason Ethan kept going. He wasn't just a pet, he was Ethan's family, his comfort, his hope. But that hope was ripped away the day Ethan's life fell apart. Years ago, Ethan worked at a small garage. One rainy night, he got caught in a robbery gone wrong. He wasn't the criminal, he was just in the wrong place, at the wrong time. But the real thief escaped, leaving Ethan behind with all the evidence pointing toward him. Despite his pleas, despite every word of truth, no one believed him. A man had died that night, and the law wanted someone to pay. Ethan was sentenced to death. For years, he waited behind bars, watching time pass slowly. Letters stopped coming. Friends stopped visiting. Only one thing kept him alive: the thought of Max. Ethan's brother had promised to care for him, and once in a while, he'd receive a picture, Max growing older, his golden fur turning gray. Ethan would stare at those photos for hours, sometimes smiling, sometimes crying. When the warden came to his cell that final night, Ethan didn't ask for mercy. He didn't ask for freedom. He simply said, "Before I die, I just want to see my dog one last time." The guards exchanged looks. It wasn't a usual request. But there was something in Ethan's voice, a calmness, a quiet ache that reached even the hardest hearts. The warden, a man who had seen hundreds of prisoners go to their deaths, hesitated, then nodded. "I'll see what I can do." The next morning, the sky was painted in shades of sorrow, gray and pale. Ethan walked down the narrow hallway toward the execution room. His hands trembled, not from fear of death, but from the weight of goodbye. Then suddenly, from behind the doors, he heard it, a bark. Soft, then louder. Familiar. Hope surged through him like a forgotten flame. When the doors opened, there stood Max, old, frail, but still wagging his tail with all the love in the world. His eyes lit up the moment he saw Ethan. The guard stepped aside, allowing the dog to run toward his owner. Ethan fell to his knees as Max leapt into his arms, licking his face with tears of joy and sorrow. For the first time in years, Ethan smiled, a genuine, broken, grateful smile. The entire room fell silent. Even the toughest officers turned away to hide their tears. Ethan whispered, "Hey, buddy, you remembered me, didn't you?" Max pressed his head against Ethan's chest, letting out a soft whine, the kind that said everything words couldn't. They sat together for several minutes, just breathing, holding on to each other. Ethan told him stories, whispered apologies, and promised that even when he was gone, Max would always be loved. The warden finally stepped forward, his voice gentle. "It's time." Ethan looked down at Max and whispered, "It's okay, boy. You've done enough. You can go home now." But Max wouldn't move. He pressed closer, refusing to leave. When the guards tried to take him away, the old dog whimpered and fought. He wanted to stay until the end. Ethan's eyes filled with tears as he begged, "Please, let him stay. Just until I'm gone." The warden hesitated, then nodded silently. As Ethan lay on the table, Max rested his head on his arm. Ethan looked into his dog's eyes, those same eyes that had seen him through every storm. "You're a good boy," he whispered softly. His last words before the world faded away were, "Thank you for loving me." When it was over, Max didn't move. He lay beside his owner, quiet and still. Hours later, when they tried to take him away, the guards found that Max had passed too peacefully, beside the man he had loved all his life. News of that moment spread across the country. The dog who waited became a story people couldn't forget. Ethan's innocence was later proven when the real criminal confessed years after his death. The system had failed, but love had not. At Ethan's grave, people would come and leave flowers and sometimes, a dog toy or a bone. The gravestone read, "Ethan Cole, a man betrayed by fate, but remembered for love that never died." And beneath it, another line was added later. "Max, his faithful friend, who waited until the very end." Even in death, they were together, a reminder that love, loyalty, and forgiveness can outlive even the cruelest of fates. And as people left the cemetery, they carried with them a message that melted hearts everywhere, that no matter how broken the world becomes, true love never leaves. Would you like me to adapt this story into a 15-minute YouTube narration script, with emotional pacing, pauses, and voice-over directions? It would sound cinematic and perfect for storytelling.